So this is just an example, right? This is like a political party website. This is for Advance UK, right? Advance UK. I don't know why they're playing a movie on the website, but they've got a little video film there, right? So, Advance UK website, let's scroll down to the bottom of the page. Right, they've got this message here, right? Because you're required to do it. This message here says promoted by Advance UK Party Limited, right? So it's got promoted by. Now, if you go onto YouTube and YouTube ads and things like that, right? It like you might have like when candidates enter elections, they'll have like promoted by Rachel Reeves or promoted by Sola Braverman or whoever it is, right? I don't even know what the Electoral Commission are doing at the moment, right? Why do you have to have this message? They've lost the plot for what the point of this message is, right? Why do you have this message? Now, at the moment, all of the political parties are putting this message because it's required to be put there. It's required to be put there. It's required to be put there, right? So the Electoral Commission are like, oh no, you've got to put that message there. You've got to put that message there, right? But why have they got to put that message there? Because it shows that they authorised and issued it, right? So, but there's an actual point to it, right? Because if there is material out there that they did not authorise and did not publish, it's not meant to be there, right? And it doesn't have their name on it. So that material is unlawful. But the problem is that corrupt and illegal practices can only be done by the candidate or their agent or people employed by them, right? Now, but other persons, right, if other persons put Advance UK material out there, right, it's not promoted by Advance UK, right? And this is the point. If you find material out there that says Advance UK and it's not got this message on, then it isn't authorised or promoted by Advance UK. So who put it out there? But that's why it's got to have the message on. It says that every item concerning the election has to have the name on it. Now, if Advance UK didn't authorise it or produce it, then it has got to have the name of the person who did, and then you can contact them about it. It's like a burglar robbing a bank and saying, no, every bank that's burgled the burglar has to leave his name, right, in the bank. Like leave a message saying, John Robertson robbed this bank on the 15th of February and took £5,000, thank you, right? It's like leaving evidence at the crime. Because the only election material that is in existence is meant to be like this, promoted by the party or its candidates. But that's why it's got the message on, so you know that they did it and someone else didn't. I mean, that's why it's got the message on, so you know that Advance UK did do it and someone else didn't. Because if someone else did it and not Advance UK, if someone else other than Advance UK did it, they've got to have their name on it, right? So you know who did it, so you can find out who paid for it and what the costs incurred were and whether Advance UK had put them down on its notional or implied spending or not, right? Now, I mean, this is the thing. If it wasn't promoted by Advance UK, right, then someone else did promote it. and someone else, and if it's got Advance UK's logo on it, like this at the top, how did someone get that logo? They copied it. Did they have permission to copyright? Did they have authorization from the copyright holder, right? And if they did have authorization from the copyright holder, did Advance UK, for example, put it down in the national law implied spending, right? So this is it. This is the thing. And look, right, when people do private bills to Parliament, right, they're trying to get legislation put through Parliament, and they pay a parliamentary agent, right, and it's very expensive, and they write out the law, and they have to get it through procedures, right? They would be very, very happy if no one opposed their private bill, right? And they would be even more happier if no one really knew about it or what they were getting put through in the law, right? At least until after they got it done, and then they could put the law to effect, right? I don't really want anyone to stop them or oppose them. That's why in the private bill procedure, you must put notices in the newspaper. You have to make sure that people are adequately warned that you're doing it, in order that they have an opportunity to fairly oppose it so they know about it, right? It's a little bit like when you're building houses, right? Or if you want planning permission from the council, you'd be very happy if no one objected to it, right? But you've got, because people have got a right to object to it, you have to attach a notice outside the property. Now, a lot of people flaunt and break that law. A lot of agents for people who are doing building and planning, like, put it up there and then take it down so no one sees it, or like put it up there, take a photograph of it, then take it down, right? And it's not up there, and people driving past don't see that there's a building or planning application, and they don't think to look to oppose it, right? This is one of the things I've been investigating before. It's a big con, right? And the Labour Party couldn't care, because the Labour Party don't think that people should have a right to oppose building and planning. I'm quite surprised that the Labour Party haven't abolished people being able to oppose private bills. I'm quite surprised that the Labour Party haven't made it so that you can't oppose a private bill, right? And I'm quite surprised that the Labour Party haven't abolished their opposition in Parliament, and they haven't even abolished other parties, right? Now, with an election, it's more like a public petition, right? Because rather than like a private bill, when they'd rather not advertise it and they'd rather not have any opposition, right? Well, they'd rather not have any candidates stand up, right? In an election, it's better for them if there isn't any candidates, if it's unopposed. It's a lot better. Reform UK would love it if they went to an election and they were unopposed. There weren't any more candidates, right? There weren't any, just them. But there are other candidates, and they've all meant to go by the rules. Now, they're meant to have spending limits and rules and regulations about it, this is the whole point. Or else, look, if there weren't any rules or spending limits, why would you have that on there? The Electoral Commission have gone into this zombie mode where they think, oh, it's just on there for the sake of it, right? It's just on there for the sake of having it. It's like, oh, you've got to have it just because the regulations say so, right? But why? What is the wider implications of that? You don't just have it on there for the sake of it, like a driving licence. Why do you have a driving licence? So the police can check it to see if you're licensed to drive, right? That's the point, right? Because they want to know if you've got the driving licence or not, right? This doesn't merely say that they're an official party and that they're allowed to operate and that they can enter elections. It's because it is also actually election material and promotes and advertises the party, right? Now, every single item is meant to have that on there. Because why? Because the whole election is regulated. regulated, right? The amount and number of material out there for each party. Now, if people are making it and putting it out there and they're not from the party or agents, right, there is a amount of material out there which is not promoted by Advance UK. Someone else is promoting it and they might not be authorised to, and it's not being noted in notional or implied spending, right? Which means that it's illegal. Now, let's get this is one thing we need to get clear, right? This logo is Advance UK's logo, right? When they order flyers or leaflets or booklets or pay for a radio advert or anything, right, they authorise it and pay for it. Or if they are taking account of it in acknowledgement, right, that is contributing towards benefiting their campaign, they put it down in implied spending or notional spending, which is that it might not cost them any money, but they acknowledge that they are making use out of it and it has got a value which they might not necessarily have paid for themselves, right? But it has a worth, right? That means that if someone donates something, but not monetarily, right? If they say, hello, Ben Habib, I'm a great fan of your party. What I'll do is, I'll get a lot of people to, put a good word in for you, or I'll get a lot of people to, I'll do you a free advert on my radio show, right? You put it down in notional or implied spending. It didn't cost Ben Habib anything, but someone gave it to him and it benefits his party. It gives an advantage and benefit, right, to him winning. Contributory asset, right, like adds to his popularity or encourages people to vote for him. It gets put down in notional or implied value, right? That's the whole point. Now, if I'm wrong about that, you can call me out on it. But every time any person, right, who isn't authorised just starts copying and duplicating this, right, which means if they've got a printer at home and they print a load out, they might print 10,000 of them out, right? That is not getting put down on notional or implied spending, and it costs ink and money, and it's helping the party to win, right? Now, the political parties would absolutely love it, right? Reform UK would absolutely love it if they didn't have to spend anything on their election campaign, right? If everyone else did it for them. So if everyone in the country goes and prints out Reform UK stuff, like, and goes and puts it in the streets or prints it out, it's going to help Reform to win. So they're really not going to be opposed to that. Yeah, it's broken the rules and regulations. So by not complaining about it, right, they're actually being complicit in the offence, which means that if Nigel Farage was in the Olympics, right, and, a lot of people picked him up like C-3PO and Star Wars with the Ewok village and put him on like a chair and carried him around like an emperor and ran and did the running for him in the race, right, around the track. And they beat all the other contestants, like, but he didn't even put one step towards it. He wouldn't complain about it because it helped him win the race. Now, the usual model they talk about is a yacht race, right, at sea, right, whereby, the candidate and the electoral agent are the crew of a yacht and they've got to comply with the rules on the yacht and so forth, right? But that's just for corrupt and illegal practices. The public can commit offences and crimes. Copyright is a violation of civil law. Now, in civil law, you're allowed to copy something under fair use, right? But that means if I want to copy this Advance UK logo and save it on my computer because I like it and I want to put it on my wall at home, right? That's fair use, right? For me, personal use. Now, if I copy that Advance logo, That's copyright, but then print out 10 million flyers, right? That is not fair use for me. That is using it to advance UK and help them in their election, right? But if they did not know that and didn't engage with me in it, but I did it anyway, they haven't done a corrupt and illegal practice, but I have committed an election crime, and it could constitute as widespread corruption, particularly if I'd put 10 or 20,000 flyers out in the fucking area, right? And this is the thing that the police can't get their head around, and they go, oh, there's too much going on to enforce it. Now, online, when you click on it, right, and you press this button here, copy image, right? Save to device. I've just copied it. Some websites have it deactivated so you cannot copy it, right? And a screen comes up saying protected by copyright. Every single political party should have that on their website and no one could copy their images, right? Or at least it'd be harder to do it. But I can still argue fair use for that, right? Because I've got that image on my phone. Right. I have now actually got this on my phone saved, right? Now, that is fair use, right, for myself. But if I print 10 million of them out, or... This is the thing. This is on my phone. It's not on the internet, right? And I haven't made additional copies of it or reproduced it or duplicated it further than a copy for me, a copy for myself, right? Now, on this website, you can visit this website, right? We're visiting the website here. And I am looking at the logo. I am looking at it. I'm the receiver, right? And they've got it there, and I can look at it, right? That's it, right? And that's why it says promoted by Advance UK, because Advance UK have it on their website, right? Now, if it's on any other website that doesn't say that, it wasn't promoted by Advance UK. That's the point. But yet, people are copying these, and they're not using it for personal use. They're using it for promotional use to help their favourite party, and they're not putting that. They copied it. They're not putting on it when they upload it to groups and make duplicate copies all over. They're not saying that it was promoted by John Price, the greatest fan of Advance UK in England, their favourite champion. He's just doing them a little favour, although he's not on the, he's not an authorised agent and he's not anything to do with Advance UK. But he's going to make 10,000 copies of it and put it on every Facebook group. It doesn't matter whether it's online or not, right? Because it's still posting it. You read the word post in the dictionary. It's got nothing to do with ink or paper originally. It's the process of making it available to other persons, which is the same meaning eventually as was adopted by publish, to make available to the public at large or a section of the public in whatever form and whatever means. The original word post was the same, to post it to the public in whatever form and whatever means, right? So the public may receive it. It wasn't until the mid-1800s until the dictionary added a new and additional interpretation that a poster means a large print with ink on it, right? I can guarantee you that. So the Electoral Commission, I really don't know what planet they're on. I don't know what planet the staff are on, or what they're teaching them on the university course in politics, or what. But there's something missing from there, right? They've got something serious missing in their mind, which is some intelligence, right? I do not believe that I am wrong about this, right? I don't think that I'm wrong about it. And they've tried to think that somehow digital material doesn't apply, and the police college had this message up saying, "Oh no, it doesn't have to be on digital material." But from the year 2000, publish means anything, any medium at all, right? And then also in the 2007 control of advertising. No, in the 1990 control of advertisements had even illuminated signs. or it might have been updated later, but it's a misconception and a lie to assume that it never meant digital. They just made that up. They've just made it up because, like I said, this is the basis of this, right? Nigel Farage and Reform UK, right? Like, no, we comply with all election rules, right? Pull the other one, right? There's no political party on the face of planet Earth that wants to win an election that would really be opposed to or dislike someone going out of their way to help them win, right? And print all their stuff out, right? But, so, like, getting them to comply with the rules and follow them's hard. That's why you've got rules and that's why they're meant to be enforced, right? And when it comes to anyone else breaking the law, right, it's not like everyone's robbing jewellery stores and Nigel Farage is like, oh, officer, everyone's robbing jewellery stores. Are you going to do something about it? It's like, oh, officer, everyone's copying all my material and helping me win, officer. Are you going to do anything about it, right? In fact, I'll prosecute them with copyright. I'm going to take them to court and prosecute them myself with my own money civilly for copyright because they're helping me to win in an election, right? There's like, like on private bills through Parliament. Oh, damn, I've got to put an advert in the newspaper and tell people that I'm trying to sneak this legislation through. Damn, I have to put an advert in the newspaper. Curses! Wouldn't it be great if I didn't have to put one and no one freaking knew about it and I could sneak that new legislation through, right? And then once it's through, done, right? That legislation, like, I can be the only candidate in an election, or some legislation like there can only be one political party, or, Labour shall not ever have any other political party or opponent in government, we'll just be one, the government, right? Or we don't even allow other political parties, or something like that, right? You need to understand these people. Nigel Farage and Reform UK are not going to spend their own money prosecuting people in the civil court for copying their logo beyond fair use, because when it's beyond personal use, it's actually going to be beneficial to them to help them win. Right? And Nigel Farage, he would sell his soul to Satan to admit this. In fact, he's helping encourage it. And he's doing a little image on GB News pointing at us. Oh, it's you. You're the criminal. It's you. I'm breaking the law, but you are as well. Show me the money, Nigel. Where is Nigel's pointing at us going, oh, there's the criminal, there's the criminal, there's the criminal. Right? It's view only. View only. Because otherwise you have to copy it, which is copyright, and it ain't for fair use. And the person who's making multiple copies is not going to put promoted by the person who illegally copied it and he's illegally distributing it, right? What is the point in even having this message on here anymore? Right? Why does it freaking exist? And this is the thing with Farage and Tice, and they, we're going to do this professionally. We've got a professional party. We've got a new logo. We've got all these expensive hustings and meetings and announcements and television crews and meetings. And I'm on GB News and I'm in America in the news. I'm a very important VIP person, right? He is being complicit in his fans and followers breaking election law, because apparently this needs reform. It's like the Great Reform Act, but in the Great Reform Act they didn't act criminally. Oh, damn, the whole system needs changing. Oh, my bad, sorry, my bad, right? The Electoral Commission, right, should be like a parking officer, right? When you go into town centre, right, and the parking officer's going around giving tickets out, right, he would love it if he could go and give loads of tickets out, Because if there's no cars parked there, it would deserted. He wouldn't even have any job to do. He'd be walking around bored out of his mind, right? When someone parks illegally, he gives them a ticket, right? And it makes money for the council. Now, the Electoral Commission should be loving this. They should be like a parking ticket attendant in the town centre on overdrive. They should be like, oh, look, an unauthorised Reform UK logo on a website. We'll find them and we'll issue a takedown notice to, to Mark Zuckerberg, to Facebook, or to Instagram, or to YouTube, right? They should be giving out takedown notices like there's no tomorrow, like a parking attendant on overdrive, right? They should have been doing that since they were formed. And I don't know if the takedown notice, if they do get fined, right, but it's meant to be a crime anyway, right? But the takedown notice surely actually is designed to take it down to stop the unlawful effect. Now, the Electoral Commission are about a limper than a wet leak, right? Their enforcement is zero. Non-existent. Have you seen these people, who they are? Look at them on the website, right? They are about as useful as someone, a sleeping party, right? They are absolutely, completely and utterly useless. In fact, the only thing that they've been any use for is arranging and organising the whole elections, right? But the advertisement and promotion of it is a big part of it because it helps certain parties win, which is the point, right? I am surprised that Nigel Farage hasn't managed to put a private bill through Parliament, right? But it would have to be a public bill and a public act, right? And, public bills and public acts get a lot of opposition. That's why people are contesting it out in public, for or against, right? It's the big issue, right? Nigel Farage would love it if he could get a private bill through Parliament saying that there can only be one candidate in every election, right? And then it has to be reformed, right? He wouldn't be out putting notices out then to say that, oh yeah, I've got to put notice in the newspaper to tell everyone I'm trying to get this act through. In the end, there can only be one, the Highlander, Nigel Farage, right? Uncontested election, right? He'd love that. Nigel Farage, get a private bill put through, uncontested election, right? And Nigel, did you put your advert in the newspaper to let us know we could have opposed that, right? Like, when you're building that fucking new housing development down the road, or converting, like an old bit of, wasteland into a new fucking Amazon factory or whatever. Can we oppose that? Sorry. I forgot to put the planning notice up. Well, I could have objected to that. Well, yeah, unless the council weren't all corrupt and crooked, we might have objected to it, even though they just ignore your objections, right, and build it anyway. This is the thing. I really don't know what has happened to the IQ of this country. We don't have an IQ anymore. This country doesn't have an IQ. There's something, either someone's put something in the water or drinks, whether it's taurine or caffeine or something, right? There's something has been put in the drinks, right? And, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has been investigating it, because apparently everyone's going autistic, right? It's something to do with that, right? What is the point of having the message on the website? What is the point? It's not just like a driving license. Oh, I'm licensed now. Advance UK are licensed to be a party. No. Right? Yeah, but, is everyone else? Because according to Nigel Farage, every single person in England is Reform. Right? So if every single person in England is Reform UK and he's copying his fucking material and his logo and uploading it onto their website, why distinguish his own website from them all, right? if there's no other purpose for this, I am the real Nigel Farage. You are an imposter. This is, that wasn't promoted by me. That was promoted by someone else, right? What is the point? That there's something wrong with Farage. And, I think that this is the thing. This is he knows that he's breaking the law, but yet this is the new great reform. Like, the great reform in the 1800s. Oh, big changes to come. What I'll do is I'll break the law as much as possible, right? No one could possibly break election law in the history of the entire fucking country, right? I am the Guinness Book of World Records of election law. And look, I'm pointing, it could be you, but it's me. Look, I'm pointing at you. You're all the ones breaking the law. Not our team, not our agents, not our corrupt and legal practices. You, it could be you. It could be you. But it's me. Oh, it's me, Nigel Farage. I'm the biggest. The actual Guinness World Book of Records of election offences. Reform UK. It could be you, but it's Nigel.